If you've seen E3 recently, or any of Todd Howard's interviews thereafter, you'll have known by now that Fallout 76 is unfortunately not a single player game. This was a surprise to some, but expected by many. The time frame between Fallout 4 and 76 was not large enough to account for proper development for a fully fleshed, dialogue-fueled Fallout single player game. Or was it? The framework has been set in place for this online multiplayer game. The landscape, monsters, weapons and perk system, the list goes on. It's only missing missions and dialogue. The Fallout modding community are making their own Fallout within a few months period and are nearly finished, so it is possible to have such a game like Fallout 76 contain a single player mode. Unfortunately, it won't. But the question remains, what if Fallout 76 was a single player? Hey guys, welcome to Hypotheticals, the show that looks at the most idiotic questions you could think of in gaming and attempts to find answers for them. And today, we will be delving into the world of Fallout, specifically Fallout 76. And we will discuss what the game could have been like if it was a single player game. So let's get this show on the road. I think if Fallout 76 was a single player, it would still have the online mode too, and tested the way the GTA franchise has with its successful online play. But just to focus on Fallout 76 offline mode, I would say the vault scene at the start would be fleshed out more. A new backstory could be introduced, similar to the protagonist of Fallout 4, bombs dropping, running to the vault, some bad stuff happens and voila! We're a new lone wanderer in a world full of lone wanderers. In the time of making this video, Fallout 76 has not been released yet. However, I can safely assume the time spent in the vault at the start of the online campaign won't last long. Like many online game tutorials, once you get past the basics, you're often thrown into the online universe as quickly as possible. This is evident from games such as GTA, Elder Scrolls Online, and even more recent games like Dauntless. I feel Fallout 3 did vault lifestyle perfectly. The feeling of being trapped for life in this prison, knowing that the real world is above you waiting to be explored, makes oneself feel that impeding need to explore and be free. Bethesda could have fleshed out a storyline for this, similar to that of the awful Overseer of Vault 101. In general, that's exactly what this game will likely be missing. A rich and interactive story mode with numerous endings and possible outcomes. What about our backstory? Who are we? What's our mission? We are aware that the online mode will have a mission assigned by an AI, but it's just one main mission. This leaves the reality that this game is limited from the get-go. A single player game would give us a true backstory and reason for playing. Like in Fallout 1, where our mission was to find a water chip, or in Fallout 3 it was to find our dad. This doesn't mean that the online won't have a backstory. I just feel it won't have as big of an impact as a single player story would. To make the online story make sense, it would have to allow players to feel that special inclusion. Like we're all members of some elite army now, or something along those lines. We're all fighting for the exact same cause, so the game does lose its superhero feel you get for being the one and only special guy or gal, who single-handedly dropped the Enclave, Brotherhood of Steel, NCR, Caesar's Legion, or, any of your arch enemies. Considering the replayability of the other Fallout games, where does this game fall into that category? In the other games, we gain the ability to try different playstyles, dialogue options, or even endings. We might kill different people or follow different paths, use different builds. This game will have too much repetitive entertainment. Everyone's on the same trip, in the same 6 directions, and then that's it. The difference being, the focus will likely be on player versus player than the immersion of the story of the world around us. It will lack pace, for a want of a better word. We won't be able to breathe. Take a second to check our Pip-Boys. Fast travel even perhaps. We're completely limited. What if we want to stop and take in the beauty of the post-apocalyptic world around us? Well, we can't. Because we just got shot in the head from a team of power armor wearing nuke dropping son of a guns. Another thing that we will miss out on is likely numerous armors, guns with unique abilities, perks and hilarious dialogue options. Charisma takes the biggest hit in this game. No dialogue means Fallout can only be 8/9 of what it's meant to be. Charisma is the cowardly way to back out of fights, get yourself lots more caps and woo the opposite sex. What about VATS? We could be losing out on agility being a useful perk too. Or what about the ability to sneak? It's very obvious that's an enemy player crouching. We're not a brain dead NPC, damn it. How will sneak handle in this one? Not at all? I don't think it will be possible to do online. It definitely hinders what Fallout is meant to be. I don't think we're going to see many variety, or unique or legendary weapons. Then again, I think I will hold my breath, because we won't fully know that for sure until the game is out. The same holds true for armors, etc. My reason for assuming this is because it will make players overpowered having too many unique varied options. I would imagine they will cap or limit the armor rating and ability of weapons. However, I would be very satisfied if they include the Fat Man, as this thing wrecks families when it hits. Literally. If we look at the dates of this game, Fallout 76 will take place nearly 60 years after the events of Fallout 1, which makes it the prequel to Fallout 1 and the first Fallout game of the entire timeline. Fallout 76 takes place on October 27th, 2102. This is 25 years after the Great War, when all the bombs dropped, creating the barren wastelands we see in all the Fallout games. The dwellers of Fallout 76 were told they would be released 20 years after the bombs dropped, so they had to wait an extra 5 years. Why? Well, that could be our story in the single player game. Also, it's not that they weren't released on time, it's just that we were not released on time. Maybe we know something we don't? Maybe we're a problem to Vault-Tec or the Overseer? Maybe they are planning something. We don't know if Fallout 76 will feature answers for us through terminals or notes we might find in the wasteland, but one thing's for certain. If Bethesda had have coded in characters and dialogue, this game would have been 2 million times better. This storyline is so intriguing and full of mystery. What exactly are they planning if we are delayed out of the vault 5 years thereafter? Maybe it's for our own safety. Maybe we were never going to leave. Maybe like in some of the vaults, we were experiments. Vault-Tec has a dark history, as is evident from the previous games. For example, the Los Angeles Vault was the first ever vault and it contained a monster who tried to turn all dwellers into super mutants. Vault 111 had only one surviving vault dweller due to the unfortunate failed experiment of cryogenics. Even Vaults 11, 22 and 34 are just some examples of the many catastrophes of Vault-Tec's sadistic realities. Fallout 76 could have been a guided tour into this reality. Vault-Tec is evil, and here's why. Instead, it will likely play out similar to GTA Online, except with no missions. No NPCs means no real sense of achievement towards goals, earning and bartering. It would have been cool killing lots of NPC raiders with your friends and bartering with NPCs for overpowered weapons. Instead, we have to wait and see what the game really has to offer, cause who knows, Todd Howard might have a few untold tricks up his sleeve. In the trailer we get a glimpse of different things that opens up the vast size of the wasteland we can explore. We see what appears to be the White House at first glance, but turns out to be a hotel resort in West Virginia called the Greenbrier. However, this got me thinking, what if they included Washington DC and other areas in the single player game due to not having the limited map sizes for online servers? Washington DC could therefore possibly be visited as well in this game. I think having a president and a fight for power would have been a good storyline for this. Kind of like the Enclave versus the Brotherhood of Steel or the Caesar's Legion versus the New California Republic. Picture walking into the White House after defeating all the bad guys to face their head honcho and a shootout in the Oval Office. Now that is a final boss worth battling. I just feel like so much possibilities could have occurred with a single player campaign, and it's a shame we won't get to see any dialogue whatsoever, or at least we haven't been told so yet. The single player mode could have introduced so many new characters that could tie into the lore of the current games. Maybe it could have included younger versions of characters who were alive around that time period. This could have included Richard Gray, also known as the Master, Harold the Tree, the Vipers, Robert House. Even the Puppet Man would have been alive around this time. It was actually in 2102 that Richard Gray became the Master, as he investigated the Mariposa military base in California with his friend Harold and was knocked into the FEV green goo, causing his mutation into the monster he became in Fallout 1. Harold respectively transformed into a mutant creature too, and later a tree in Fallout 3. He became a Fallout tree. I crack myself up sometimes. It would have been interesting to be able to see these iconic characters develop from their young age. Maybe even witness their transformation firsthand. Maybe even encounter them mid-transformation as bosses and defeat them, or at least think we defeated them. Seeing a young Robert House in the flesh would have also been interesting. However, there is a big issue with this possibility, and that is that these guys were all in California at the same time. West Virginia is too far away from that location, so unfortunately it does limit us to what is achievable with existing characters at that time. I think what is plausible is the introduction of new characters to add to the lore. Some new bad guys, some new good guys, a funny lovable robot, and hell, while we're at it, let's throw in the trademark dog. The map introduced to us for this game feels exactly what you would expect for an online game. Clear distinct locations for you and your buddies to identify meeting up at. However, Fallout games are never meant to be about distinct locations. A lot of the time, the games have this sense of barren wastelands, rubble, twisting buildings, and a vast variety of scenes and architecture from location to location. If we had a single player game for this, I feel the map would have been designed to reflect that. There would be more towns, more settlements, probably even a barbers and shops too. No, definitely those things. And much, much more. I think if Fallout 76 had received single player, we would also be seeing the new game mechanics that could have been possible. I feel that both the modding and capabilities have been limited due to what appears to just be a reworked Fallout 4 with fancy hills. But considering what could have been, it would have been cool to see new things like hiding in lockers from enemies, new ways to use the science perk, maybe build your own robotic companion to bring with you. We did learn that there will be 6 quests your Vault's Overseer will send you on in 6 locations. This is the makeup of the online play, so it will be interesting to see how fun this will be with little to no dialogue. While human NPCs are non-existent, it is understood that robot NPCs will exist for the purpose of quest related things, so maybe we will see some interesting dialogue, who knows. Also, we remain to wonder if there will be upbuilt settlements and towns, like in the other games. The sense of community in Fallout games has always been heartwarming, and this game should have something like this considering the colourful atmosphere. I feel if the game had single player mode, it would definitely take advantage of this. Existing locations like Charlestown and Huntington definitely show this with their forestry vibes radiating the whole environment. It would have been great to do lots of quests from different people in these locations and learn some new lore in the process. Recently, we have been introduced to the actual map layout of Fallout 76 Online. We learned that Fallout 76 will be positioned top left of the map, and from there we can make our own way to locations like the Forest, the Mire, Toxic Valley, Savage Divide, the Ash Heap and Cranberry Bog. I feel questing takes a big hit if we only have 6 quests. They must just bring us to one of each of these locations. While human NPCs make up the world, I feel the game is missing out on so much offline potential in a single player campaign. Imagine the interesting characters we could have came across. People working in the bog, the crazy Adam worshipping cult we could have found up north, or even the normal everyday folk with chilling backstories and tales of the wasteland we could find in the settlements. Apparently this game is opening up an entire role-playing element for fans of the franchise, but it still does take away from the potential this game had. Not everyone will have the same role-playing mentality in different servers. Knowing our luck, we will be stuck with some snotty-nosed kids shouting, "Fire the nukes!" Not that kids could get nukes that easily. I'm sure the game wouldn't make it that easy to access something so deadly. Would it? Anyways, I'll leave it all there as there's not much else to really say with the available information we have. Maybe the next game in the franchise will contain a single player mode, or maybe the DLC will have some way to implement it. Regardless, it will still be a great game to get your hands on if you're a Fallout fan, and I can't wait for its release myself. Anyways, thank you for tuning in to Hypotheticals. Be sure to leave a like if you found this video thought-provoking, and I shall get back to making more videos like this really soon. Sorry for the recent delay with the upload schedule. Working full-time has caused recent difficulties, but I'll try to be more consistent in future. The upload schedule is normally one new video every second Saturday at 9 AM Eastern time, so I'll try and get that to be a regularity again. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys at the next one.
You've made your last delivery, kid. Sorry you got twisted up in this scene. From where you're kneeling must seem like an 18-carat run of bad luck. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start.